And our learning objectives, there are three agendas in our today's class. Agenda 1, research proposal and components. Okay, so today we'll be learning how to make a proposal in a very effective way. Okay, and what should be the standard components or contents in the research proposal. Second agenda or learning objective for today's class is theoretical framework. So when we will be doing a research, we must have to have a framework based on the theory. Okay, so the theoretical framework, it is a framework, theoretical framework, it comes basically from literature review. Final objective, learning objective in our today's class is ethical principles and ethical approval and consent letter. Actually, when we collect the data from the participants, we need to have the consent form or consent letter from our participants. That is, we must need to have the pre-consent from our participant. We can't force our participant to be the to be the respondent or interviewees in our research. They must have to provide their free consent. Okay? And while we will be also collecting the data, while we will be analyzing those collected data, and while we will be writing the thesis and reporting, then we'll also need to follow the ethics, okay, which is called ethical principles. So we'll be trying to learn all this in our today's class. So research proposal, and what does it mean? Actually, proposal is a plan. Okay, proposal, how we'll be doing our research. Okay. And what we will be doing in our research. Okay. Will we be collecting the data primary or secondary? If primary, then who will be our participants or samples? How will we be collecting data? Primary data through the interview or survey or observation or mixing of them. Then we will be analyzing those data using the thematic analysis or statistical analysis. Okay. Will we have any hypothesis? If yes, what are those? So all these things is in the research proposal. So you can see I told that it is in future form. We. So it is future planning, which is a research proposal. Okay. So you can see the research proposal here. Title of the research. There must be a very precise title of our research. Okay, and that title, it is not only for the proposal sake, title will be applying for our thesis as well or for our research as well. So there will be a title. Sometimes we say that the title shouldn't be more than 30 words or 24 words. So the title should not be very long. However, I told sometime that the title, in our title, there must be a problem or an issue. Without the problem or issue, the title will not be a complete title. So research title, in our research title, there must be a problem or an issue, such as high employee turnover, causes of high employee turnover, or consequences of high employee turnover. Okay. Or for example, say money laundering. Okay. It is an issue. Or for example, so delaying the project, it is an issue or problem. Okay. Or for example, poor employee performance, It is an issue or problem, so it must be on the title. Then, after the title, we will, in our research proposal, we will have a introduction. So, in the introduction, what we will be writing or what we will be including? First, we will be trying to provide some of the background of the industry or the organization where we will be conducting our research. For example, we will be conducting our research on commercial banking industry in Australia. Therefore, we need to provide some of the background of commercial banking industry in Australia. Or we'll be conducting our research on hospitality industry. So, in hospitality industry, in Australian context, we'll be providing the background. And also, we'll be including the problem or issue what I have mentioned a few minutes ago. Okay, so what is the problem? The problem I saw saying that high employee turnover in the hospitality industry in Australia, causes of high employee turnover. So we'll be discussing about that problem statement. Okay. And we need to have that problem statement very clearly with some support, with some evidence, with some references. For example, if I say the turnover rate in the hospitality industry in Australia is really high, yes, it's okay. But what are the evidence? We need to provide evidence. And also it is not very specific. It is very vague. Because you said high. What does high mean? Is it 20%? It is 50%? It is 70%? What does high mean? So high can be interpreted differently by the different person or different researcher or different audience. Therefore, we need to provide also a specific percentage here. So the problem statement, why we will be providing the problem statement, we'll be providing it very precisely, clearly, with support. And also we need to provide significance of the research. Why this research is important. It should be also included in introduction section. Okay, so you can see the rationale of the study. So why we'll be saying the rationale of the study does mean the justification of the study. So while we are justifying our study, we must need to justify in two ways. One is theoretical justification, another one is practical justification. So theoretical justification does mean that there should be a research gap because our research has been taken or chosen from the gap area. And while we will be conducting this research, then that gap will be fulfilled. So this is the theoretical justification. What does it mean? That is, when we will be completing our research and when we will find the answer of the research questions, then all unanswered questions will be answered. Unanswered questions will be answered. It means there was a research gap or knowledge gap previously. And after conducting this research or our research, that knowledge gap or research gap has been covered, fulfilled, which is a significance. And this is the justification that why our research is important, why we need to conduct our research. Another one I told that which is practical justification. In other words, managerial justification. In practical or managerial justification, we also be stating or we also be showing that while we will be conducting our research, then the manager in the hospitality industry, they will be learning what are the causes of high employee turnover in the hospitality industry? Then what? So what? When they will be learning that, I mean the managers, when they will be learning from our research that these are the causes for high employee turnover, then they can apply our suggestion or they can rectify those causes. And when they will be rectifying, then what will happen? The employee, they will not be turning over. They will not be leaving the organizations, the hospitality organizations. So this is another benefit. So the turnover rate will be low because the managers, they know this is the cause. For example, you know why your employees, they are leaving your organization. Then when you will know that, then you can remove those causes. You can rectify those causes. You can improve the situation. And when you'll be improving, your employees, they will not be leaving your organization. So this is the rationale of the study. And also, you can provide the scope of your research. Okay. Where your research will be limiting in this background section. Next, section 3, literature review. So we must need to review the previous articles, which is very related with our topic. Okay, so we need to find the keywords from our research. What is the keyword? High employee turnover. Causes of high employee turnover. Causes of high employee turnover. For example, this is our research keyword. Okay. Now, when you will be selecting the articles, if the articles are coming from banking industry, not hospitality industry, still we can use them. Okay, still that can be a relevant article. For example, I say that causes of high employee turnover in the hospitality industry in Australia. This is our topic. Now, Arjun found one article which is the causes of high employee turnover in the banking industry in New Zealand. Okay, banking industry in New Zealand. So here we can see the industry is different and also the context is different. Context is not Australian context, it is New Zealand context. Still we can use this article. Okay, but if the article, say Savita found one article which is, for example, types of employee turnover. Okay, different types of employee turnover, or the consequences of high employee turnover on the hospitality industry in Australia. What do you think? Can we use this article? Yes or no? Savita or Jan, Lisa, what do you think? No, we can't use this article. This is wrong article because our keyword is causes of high employee turnover, not consequences. So you can see in Savita's article, it is on Australian context. It is also, which is similar with our topic. It is also similar with the hospitality industry, which is similar with our topic. But the main keyword is different. Our topic's keyword is causes of high employee turnover. And Savita's article topic is consequences of high employee turnover, which is different. Therefore, we can't use that article. So, first thing is, while we'll be doing our literature review, we must need to check that our literature or our article, what we have selected, it is coming from the same keywords area. Same keyword area. What is our keyword? Once again, it is causes of high employee turnover, causes of turnover. Causes of turnover. Now, if you find one article where it is saying a strategy to minimize high employee turnover, still it is not relevant. It is not relevant because they are saying a strategy or way to minimize high employee turnover. That article is they are not talking about causes. Okay, if they are talking about causes, we can pick that part. But most likely that article they are talking about what are the solutions or way or strategy to minimize the high employee turnover. Therefore, there is no consistency, there is no relevance. Okay, so we need to always, first thing is in literature, we need to always think to find, or I mean, always we need to consider the relevance of our topic with the selected article. Second thing is we will be selecting the article from the current years. Current year doesn't mean 2025. It can be last 5 years, sometimes 7 years, sometimes 10 years. But try to select as current as you can. If some of the articles, they are very seminal, they are very significant on our topic, very prominent theory, okay, we can use that. Though it is very old, let's say 1994, okay, which is say 30 years ago or something. Still, we can use one or two articles which are very prominent. Now, when we will be having that article ready, then we need to summarize, synthesize. Now, in summarizing, in synthesizing, if we just bring what they found, and this is our review of literature, it is not enough. What they have found, for example, John and Jenny in their article, what they have found, Mark and Ray in their article, what they have found, okay, John 2019, what they have found, okay, I mean 2091 or 2097, what they have, what John found. It is part of literature. Okay. Then we need to also have some gap from their research, what they didn't do, but we will be doing. In other words, we will be trying to make connection with them and our work. Okay, what they have found and how that finding will be giving us light or giving us some indication to complete our research. We will be also doing that. So first, what they have, in one or two sentences you can write the article where they have conducted in which year or which area. Okay. In one sentence you can write what in which year and in which context they have conducted their research on what. For example, I said three things. One is year, another one is context, another one is area. For example, John 2017 conducted a research on, say, causes of government officers in causes of government officers turnover rate in New Zealand. Okay. So here I have saying who? John. Which area? Say 20 to 23, for example. Okay. And Where? In New Zealand. And also of what? Causes of government officers turnover rate. So all these 3 or 4 things I have written in one sentence. Next, what are the findings? What are the causes John found? Okay, and the gap, research gap. Okay, what are missing by John and we will be covering in our research. Okay. For example, John conducted his research on New Zealand context, not Australian context. We'll be doing that. John conducted on public service sector. We'll be conducting our research on hospitality area. Okay. And John conducted his research using secondary data sources. We'll be conducting our research on primary data sources. Okay. And also, what are the findings John found? And how that findings may give us some light or give us some indication in our research doing. Okay. Next, you can see this is the components of each chapter in a thesis. Okay. So this is not a proposal, it suddenly gone to thesis, but we've been talking about a proposal. Anyway, so here we are going to a thesis chapter, which is quantitative research, and I will be coming to these thesis chapters content later. Three, then 4 is here. Okay. So there is some inconsistency. Okay. So 4, research objectives, not or, should be and. Research aim and objective. Aim and objective are not or, it should be and. Research aims and not aims, maybe aim, just aim, one aim, significant aim on principal aim, a major aim and objectives. Research aim and objective. Now aim. What are the aim of the research? We need to write the aim of the research. Okay, what are the aim? I mean, what is the aim of the research? We will be writing that one in one sentence or 2 sentences. So research aim, what we will be doing, how we will be doing, where we will be doing. This is the aim. For example, a current research project aims to identify or investigate the prime causes of high employee turnover rates among the hospitality chef, cook, and kitchen hand in Australian context. So here I'm saying again, the current research project aims to investigate the prime causes of turnover rate, voluntary turnover rate among the chef, cook, and kitchen hand in the hospitality industry in Australia. Okay, so we say that and also applying say quantitative methodology, So this is the aim. What we will be doing? We will be identifying or investigating the causes, prime causes, main causes of quitting the job or turning over, voluntary turnover. Voluntary turnover, which is quitting the job by the chef, by the cook, and by the kitchen hand in the hospitality industry in Australian context, and we will be applying quantitative methodology to do our research. This is our aim. Objectives. We will have, say, 3 objectives. Okay, main 3 objectives will be writing. We don't need to have many objectives. If it is says 9 objectives, 7 objectives, then many times you will be going away, some deviation from your objectives or from your main area and having the very irrelated objective or inconsistent objective. Hence, we do not need to have more than 3 objectives. Okay. Research questions and hypothesis. Okay. Not or. If it is quantitative methodology or quantitative research, then we need to have the hypothesis. Yeah, we need to have the hypothesis. But if it is qualitative, then we don't need hypothesis. Okay. So research questions, again, we will have 3 research questions. But these 3 research questions will not be exactly same with our research objective. They will be a little bit different. Some students, they have exactly same research questions as their research objective. No. Okay. And usually we start research objective with 2, say, to explore or to identify or to find out, okay, or to recommend. So this is the way we start our research objective. And when we'll be writing research question, we'll be starting with is, are, there, what, or how, okay, or when, okay, or why. So this is the way we'll be starting our research question. For example, what are the relationship between HR practices and high employee turnover? This is a research question. Starting with what? I'm saying again, what are the relationship between HR practices or appropriate HR practices and employee turnover rate? So we don't know. We will be finding that research questions answer in our research. So research question, once again, we will have 3 research questions. Okay, 3 research questions we will have, and in research question and research objective, we do not need any citation. We don't need any citation. We don't need any explanation. Just statement. Okay. For example, research objective, I said that we will be starting by 2. Say to examine the prime causes for voluntary turnover rates in the hospitality industry. So this is our one of the objectives. We will be examining the prime causes, main causes of voluntary turnover rates. Or another objective. Let me give you another objective. Say, for example, to recommend or to suggest the strategy to minimize voluntary turnover rates. We will be, our another objective is we will be providing some suggestions or some recommendations to minimize the turnover rate. This is another objective of our research. In our research, we will be providing some of the recommendations or some of the suggestions. And that recommendation, that suggestion for what? That recommendation or that suggestion to minimize the turnover rate. And we will be providing that recommendation to whom? To the manager. Okay. We say that there are some managerial justification of our research. This is the managerial justification, that we will be providing some of the recommendations or suggestions to the hospitality manager. And if they apply that recommendation or suggestion, hopefully the turnover rate may reduce. Okay. I said that hypothesis, this hypothesis will be applied only if it is a quantitative methodology. There are two types of hypotheses I discussed before. Can you remember? Null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis say there is a relationship. Okay. Alternative hypothesis say there is a relationship. Say for example, Amrit got some pet at home. Okay. Now, what are the relationship between Amrit and his pet? We want to find that one. Does mean Amrit take care of his pet or love his pet, like his pet or not? Therefore, we are having two hypotheses. One is alternative. In alternative hypothesis, I said that there is a relationship. We are saying Amrit likes his pet. Okay. Alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis, Amrit doesn't have any relationship with his pet. Amrit don't care his pet. Okay, let me give you another example. Say for example, advertisement and sale, ad and sale. Okay, so alternate hypothesis you can think about. Say for example, advertisement or ad impact on increasing the sales. So when there is ad, then it helps to increase the sales in the organization. Alternate. Null hypothesis, there is no impact of ad on sales. Null hypothesis. So from our example, we understood that there are two types of hypotheses. There are two types of hypotheses. They are about same. One's alternate, it explain or it say that there is an impact or there is a relationship or there is a effect of one factor or another factor. It's a dependent factor and independent factor. Okay. So advertisement and sales. Sales depend on ad. So sales is depending on ad. Sales is a dependent factor. And advertisement, it doesn't depend on anything. So it is an independent factor. Okay. Or for example, our employee turnover and salary. Okay, employee turnover and good amount of salary. Say for example, alternate hypothesis will be standard amount of salary decreases the turnover rate, minimize the turnover rate. Okay, good amount of salary decreases the turnover rate. This is the alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis, salary doesn't impact in reducing the turnover rate, or there is no relationship between salary and employee turnover rate. This is the null hypothesis. So exactly saying just yes or no. Okay. Now everyone please make a note that this hypothesis will be applied only for the quantitative methodology. If it is qualitative, you don't need to worry about. Next, methodology. Methodology, how we will be doing our research. How? That is, how we'll be collecting the data, how we'll be analyzing the data. So there are two main components of methodology. Two main components. One is data collection method and data analysis method. Okay. So we must need to focus on both, like our two hands. We have two hands. One is data collection, another one is data analysis. Both are included in methodology. Okay. Both are included in the methodology. If you only focus on how to collect the data and no discussion about how to analyze, how you will be analyzing those data, then it is incompleted. Therefore, we need to focus on both. So, data collection, we know that there are two main ways to collect the data. One is primary collection, another one is secondary collection. Okay. If it is primary collection, then also there are subdivisions. Primarily, we can collect data from interview, from survey, from observation, from focus group interview, okay, from experiment. Now, if it is qualitative data, then there is a specific way to collect qualitative primary data. If it is quantitative data, then we can't use qualitative tools to collect the quantitative data. So qualitative tools will be applied to collect qualitative data, and quantitative tools will be applied to collect quantitative data. Okay. So here we need to understand that what are the qualitative tools to collect qualitative primary data. Can anyone tell me one tools to collect qualitative data? No, I'm saying that what are the tools to collect qualitative primary data? How we can collect qualitative primary data? One is interview.
What a question.
Interview. Okay, interview. Another one is focus group interview. Another one is observation. Okay, so I told you three. One is interview, focus group interview, and observation. So these are the three different ways to collect qualitative primary data. Okay. Next, if it is quantitative data collection, we can't use interview. We can't use focus group interview. Okay. We even can't use observation. We need to have different way to collect quantitative primary data, which is survey. Survey is one of them. Not interview, survey. Okay. Another one is experiment. Okay. Survey and experiment. These are the quantitative data collection tools. Now, think about you have already collected your data. Okay, but data is not analyzed. Then how will it be getting the result? Okay, you have hypothesis, you have research question, you have research objective. From where the answer will be coming from? Therefore, we need to analyze the data. Okay, so if it is qualitative data, then we need to analyze using the thematic analysis. Thematic analysis or content analysis. And if it is qualitative data, then we'll be using thematic analysis or content analysis. Okay. Sometimes we can do case study analysis. But if it is quantitative data, then we'll be using statistical analysis. Because it is quantity. They are quantity. They are number. To analyze the number, we need math. If it is quantity, if it is all numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, then we need to apply mathematical stuff. In other words, a statistical. Mathematical means, statistical tools to analyze those quantitative data. Okay. And then significance or justification, it should come before. If we do not want to include that in our introduction, then we can include somewhere after research question and the hypothesis. Okay. Ethical consideration, that is, what will be the ethical principles we will be applying in our research? Can any of you tell me one of the ethical principles? What you need to apply in your research? Hassan Jaffor, can you turn on your camera, Hassan? Hassan, turn on your camera, Hassan. If you don't do that, I'll be removing from the list. I'm giving you 3 minutes. Within that 3 minutes, you need to turn on your camera, Hassan. Probably he's not listening. Okay. So ethical principles, I am asking here, you are 6 students, and except Hassan with 7, and then Arjun. Okay, we are 8 students all together. Or 9 with Hassan. Can anyone tell me any ethical principles? When we'll be collecting data? I said at the beginning that when we'll be collecting the data, when we'll be analyzing the data, and when also we'll be writing the report, everywhere we need to follow the ethics. What is ethics? Ethics is the honesty. Okay. Ethics is something what should be good. For example, when we'll be collecting the data, we are going to collect data from Sudi. We are going to collect data from Milan. We are going to collect data from Susman, Savita, Luisa, Joanne, Arjun. And I am saying, you must need to be my participant. Otherwise, I will reduce your mark. No, unethical.
Unethical.
Yeah, unethical. Forcing. I'm forcing. And also, I'm collecting data from whom, where I have some control, where I have some authority. You are collecting data from your own team. You are the supervisor, you are the manager. No, it is also not good or not very ethical way to collect the data, because you have some relationship. Okay, manager supervisor relationship, or supervisor and follower relationship, student teacher relationship, okay, brother sister relationship, something. Okay, we should collect data from the people where we do not have any control, where we do not have any authority, and where we are not getting any, imposing any force. So that when we'll be collecting data, we'll be giving them consent letter. That is, are you freely giving your consent, agreeing to collect, to be participant, to be the participant. So this is ethics. Okay. So getting their consent, free consent. We will not be giving them any bribe, okay, or any money in return. Unethical. Please be my participant. I'll be giving you 50 bucks. Unethical. Okay. Another thing is, when we be collecting data, we will not be asking a very personalized question. For example, your name. No, we can't. We do not ask usually the name or your personal question. For example, many times you don't ask how many kids you have, okay, or how much money you earn, unless it is very relevant with our research. For example, we are looking at, in our research, we are looking at the level of income and satisfaction, employee satisfaction. That is the people who are earning very high, still they are happy, and the employee who are earning low, always they are unhappy. Is it the situation all the time? We want to look at that. In this case, different. But if it is not relevant with our research, we do not need to ask that question, unethical. Or for example, marital status. Are you married or unmarried? Okay, if we are not going to do that research, that married people, they need more family-friendly policy or flexibility in their work. If this is the situation, then it's okay. Otherwise, we can't ask this personalized, very person-related question, personalized question, unethical. Okay. When we will be analyzing the data, okay, we need to also be very honest, and also we need to look at the fitting, best suit, best fit. For example, we collected qualitative data. We are not using qualitative tools. We are using, say, quantitative tools, which is not matching. So how can we be doing? And also our results will be very misleading. Therefore, when we will be analyzing the data, we need to also use the appropriate tools to analyze those data, not inappropriate tools. If we use inappropriate tools, as I said, our findings will be very misleading and it will be creating some chaos or some say different opinion in the society, in the research society, or in the among the scholars, among the researchers. Okay, so there will be indiscipline or something bad consequences. And also, when we'll be analyzing the data, and I found the analysis, it is not according to my expectation. It is going against my will or against my expectation. Then I am twisting. I am changing the results. Unethical. For example, I'm collecting data on behalf of Toyota. Okay, Toyota automobile. Now, my expectation was 70% people they like Toyota brand. When I collect data from the potential buyers and users of automobile or car, then I found 43% people they like Toyota brand. Okay, but previously my expectation was 73. Now I change 43 to 73. Unethical, very unethical. I just change one digit. Okay, and very unethical because this 43% result I didn't expect, and I will be submitting to Toyota. Toyota give me the money, okay, to do this research. Also, I want to make them happy. Okay, so I twisted the result. I changed the result. Unethical. When also I will be writing the report in the thesis, I'm mentioning Luisa's name or Amrin's name. Okay, unethical. We can't use any participant's real name or status, okay, in the thesis, in the report. Very unethical. It can be sued sometime. Okay, so when we'll be also writing the thesis or report or article, journal article, everyone should be anonymous. Their personal identity will be very confidential. Okay. Another thing is we collect data, primary data. That primary data, either soft data or paper-based data, hard copy, we must need to keep those data in very secured manner, very confidential way. Such as, for example, it is paper-based. We need to keep that one very locked way, so that except you, no one have any access. If it is soft data, we need to use them with a strong password. It is not open. Anyone can look at that data. So it is also unethical. So we found some ethical practices such as free consent. And also another thing is we will not be harming our participants. Now, in business research, there is no harm. There is no physical harm. You know that when there was COVID-19, okay, in medicine, in medical research, there can be some, I'm removing Hassan from the list because he didn't turn on his camera. So there is no Hassan. And he will not be get attendance in today's class. Okay. Now, for example, I told that you can remember if you heard about that one. During the COVID period, when the scientists, the researchers, they were struggling to invent or discover the COVID vaccine, then they use their vaccine, the effectiveness of the vaccine, and they had some participants, some sample, and many of the sample they died. You heard about that? For example, the scientists, they have the vaccine and they want to use the vaccine as a trial basis. Okay, trial. And they push the vaccine on some of the volunteers' body. And due to the reaction of the vaccine, they died. So in medicine, okay, or in scientific research, there can be physical harm. That's the reason many times the scientists, the scientific researcher or medicine researcher, they do not use the medicine on human body. Many times they use on monkey or donkey or mouse, meat, okay, rat on their body. Okay. But say mice body and our body is not same. Or monkey's body and our body, there are some similarity but not exactly same. That's the reason, as it was COVID vaccine and millions of people, they were dying. So they collected some of the volunteer, and the volunteer, they agreed. If they die, they'll be happy. There will be no objection. So those volunteers, they give their consent that due to the reaction, if they become disabled or mental issue, their brain don't work, or if they go to coma, or if they finally die, they will be happy for that. So they gave the consent. And if you will search how many people they died due to the trial of COVID-19 vaccine, you will find on Google. Okay, anyway, but in our business research, there is no such incident. But it can be psychological incident. Psychological. Okay. Hassan, you again join. I kicked you out from the class. Can you please turn on your camera, Hassan?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Now, but still in our business research, there can be some psychological harm. For example, I'm asking Hassan, you are the CEO of this company, and during your CEO period, this much money has been sent outside of the country. It is called money laundering. This million of money has been taken out from this company. And as a CEO, you are the responsible person. Okay, we are asking this question: how you can defend yourself? We are asking, and then Hassan got heart attack. Okay, because of this very personalized blaming question, Hassan got heart attack. It is also very unethical. We shouldn't ask such question. What can be very personalized, not only demographic like your marital status or your name or your income. This is called demographic question. But even subject related question or our research related question, it can be very personalized and it can create some harm on their psychological health, mental health. Okay. Or sometime, say, we are collecting data from Amrit or from Milan or from Sudip or from, say, Savita or Susma, and due to that sensitive data you are giving to us, you lose your job. Okay? Your manager said, how come you provide this very sensitive data to the researcher and you lose your job? Okay? We also can't do that. This is unethical. Okay, so here we will be writing those ethical principles. What we will be following during data collection and how we will be protecting our participants without mentioning their name or their status. Okay, so that they will not be losing their job. And also how we will be keeping our data in a safe mode. So all these are ethical consideration. Limitation. So limitation doesn't mean drawback. Here limitation does mean what we can't do at this moment. Actually, it is not possible to do everything in one go. Okay. For example, we can't collect data from all population. It is not possible. It will take hundreds of years. Okay, it is not possible. Therefore, this is one of the limitations that this research has been collected. So this much of sample or this much of participants covered, and it can be a limitation, but it is not a drawback. It is not a fault. Or, for example, we applied quantitative methodology, not the qualitative methodology. Okay, it is our limitation. We conducted our research on hospitality industry, not our research findings is not applied in mining industry. It is our limitation because every time we need to apply our research on one specific industry. We can't cover all industry at the same time. Again, it will be taking ages and it is not realistic. So, and also, for example, we conducted our research on Australian context. The findings from our research will not be applied in Nepalese context. It's a very different economy. Okay, very different rules and regulation. The people expectation or the chef and the kitchen hand and cook, why they leave their job in Australia and in Nepal, it is not saying the people's mentality, their personal expectation and demand are very different. Therefore, we can't replicate or we can't generalize the findings from Australia in Nepalese context. This is the limitation because of different economy, different rules and regulation, different salary structure, different leadership style. So we'll be trying to have, say, 4, 5, 7 limitations. Timeline or schedule. So timeline means when we'll be doing what part of research. For example, say research aim, research objective, research question. Say for example, these three areas. When we'll be starting and when we'll be finishing. think about it is 12 weeks. Now, for example, we will be conducting that one in week 1. Literature review completed, it started in week 2, finishing by week 5, for example. Okay. Then, for example, research methodology, starting on week 3, finishing by week 5 again. Okay. Because we will be doing some of the components together. Research methodology and literature review, we can start together or we can do simultaneously at the same time. So this is called timeline. And from introduction or from background to the end, we will be doing in one or in all 12 weeks. Budget. Budget does mean, for example, I told you, you can remember, you may remember that you are a researcher, you got $2 million from Toyota to do a research, the brand loyalty. Okay, how many automobile users, they love Toyota brand. So this is the budget. Now, this $2 million, how you will be spending that $2 million? So you will be providing the cost and amount, cost area, or area where the money can be spent. For example, travel. You are going from this country to that country because Toyota is everywhere. Okay, it's a global company. And you need to collect data, say from 20 different countries. So airfare, accommodation, food. Okay. Then also buying laptop, stationery, cameras, recorders, all these things you are showing, and also buying some software to analyze the data. So this is the budget. Okay. So here you can see the cost, including material cost, equipment cost, personnel. Personnel means the employees. If you have any associates, for example, Savita is collecting data and Savita saying, okay, I need 3 assistants for 3 months. Everyone will have say $10,000 per month, for example, salary, okay, or $7,000 per month. So for 3 months, you need assistance. So the personnel or data collector. Then also you can see travel and other expenses. References, okay, and appendix. In appendix, you can include the consent letter. Okay, the consent letter you can include in the appendix. So this is the component of the research proposal. Okay. And here you can see some of the ethical approval or consent form. When you will be collecting the completed one, you can include that one in your appendix. Okay. Now stop recording. There's a call.